We're here today at Miniwargaming. Matthew was gracious enough to take some time out of his busy schedule to sit down with us, have a talk. Dave started off with Live Video Guy channel, and you had BBO Institute channel on YouTube. How did those two channels come together to create Miniwargaming?
Well, that's interesting because my previous business to this one was a marketing consulting business where I helped people with online marketing, basically with internet marketing. And Dave, I've known Dave since we were kids, so we met a long time ago. And he came to me and he was like, you know what, I want to do my own business too. I don't want to work for somebody else. I want to be an entrepreneur. What do you suggest? And we actually, Live Video Guy was actually something, it was a partnership effort where he came in and he started teaching others how to use video in their marketing pursuits. And then we got into Warhammer. We actually started playing the game and we said to each other, like, why don't we just make a business based around this? We'd actually only been into Warhammer for a few months, probably 4 or 5 months before we decided to start Miniwargaming. So we were noobs, and you can tell that if you actually go back and watch our very early videos. You can tell how little we knew about the game. And so we decided we want to do that, and that was the birth of Miniwargaming at that time. So we were both still running the other businesses as well, thankfully, because they provided some income, and then we started on Miniwargaming.
So it's 4 years later, more than 1,300 videos later. Has the success of Miniwargaming surprised you?
It's actually almost 5 years. This October, which is only 3 months away, it'll be our 5th anniversary. Definitely has surprised us. Like we had an idea of what we wanted to do, but for the first 2 or 3 years, it just didn't seem to really be taking off. Like, sure, our YouTube channel was growing, but we were having a hard time really taking that and turning it into something that would be a profitable business. So it took a lot of experimenting, a lot of work. At the time that we started, the biggest Wargaming YouTube channel was Blue Table Painting, and they had 2,000 subscribers. And that was a big deal. We looked at that and said, we want to be as big as them someday. And then that was the biggest one. So I think the YouTube market was rather young 5 years ago too. It sounds funny to say that, but really the internet is not that old. And so a lot of people weren't really using videos 5 years ago. Blue Table Painting did a great job with it. They were a good inspiration because they were just putting out tons of videos. They didn't put a lot of effort into the production value because they didn't need to. He was just showing off miniatures and putting up these quick videos that were an inspiration. And so we saw that and we wanted to kind of take that idea and improve on it, where he focused on the painting commissions and we focused on the videos. And so yeah, it has surprised us that we're now past 55,000 subscribers, I think. And it's just grown tremendously, and that we are actually the #1 Wargaming channel. That surprised us. We thought that as we grew, all the other channels would grow just as fast, if not faster. So it is nice to see that success.
It has been said that the formula to a YouTube Wargaming channel success is 40K, more 40K, and then some more 40K. Do you agree, or do you think that's very oversimplified?
Obviously oversimplified. You can, if you were started and you're a one-man show and you like 40K, then yes, I think that would be a good formula. Because when it comes down to it, anytime we put out a battle report, at least when we used to put them out, we still get this too, but early on when we were doing battle reports, the #1 comments were, now do one with this army versus this army. And I'm like, well, I only collect so many armies, so how on earth am I supposed to cover all these? So we started inviting other people into our battle reports, and that started to help, but you still see a lot of the same armies. And so that's with just one game. Now imagine adding Warhammer Fantasy, and then games like War Machine and Hordes, and then you throw in some of your specialist games. It is impossible for a small company or a one-man show, if that's what you are and you're running a YouTube channel, to cover all of that. So I would say if you like 40K, then yeah, I would do all your content based around Warhammer 40K, because it is the most popular war game out there, right up there with Warhammer Fantasy, depending on your geography. And so yeah, I would say that. But as we've expanded, now we have several people making videos. We are now, just over the past year, starting to expand the games that we cover. So we started off with lots of 40K, and then we started branching out to Warhammer Fantasy. And then another big step was branching out to War Machine, because that is popular. And now we're hoping to expand even further as we hire on more content creators as well.
Now you touched upon you're at nearly, well, actually you're over 56,000 subscribers, 23 million views of your videos on YouTube, compared with 6,000 subscribers and 2 million views on the Games Workshop channel. You kind of taken aback by the fact that GW hasn't done more with their YouTube channel?
Definitely. I think Games Workshop and other big companies too, even Privateer Press hasn't done a lot with theirs. A lot of these bigger companies, I think, it's hard to say for Privateer Press, but Games Workshop seems to be a little slow moving when it comes to accepting new technologies. And it's understandable to some degree because they're a large company. They are a public company. Their CEO is like 60 years old or something like that. He's getting close to retirement. So the internet to him is a brand new thing. And so I could be wrong about this, but I doubt that he is internet savvy, because most people who are 60 aren't. Like, I know my parents who are in their 50s, they use the internet now, but there's still things that they're not comfortable with. And so all these new things, they'll hear all sorts of these hype words like social marketing with Facebook and Twitter and all these other marketing, and yet when a person like that will jump onto YouTube, all they're going to see is a bunch of really crappy videos made by a bunch of teenagers doing stupid things, and they're going to think, I don't want to be associated with this. I don't want my marketing to be associated with that. And rightly so. Back 5-10 years ago, bigger companies like GM and all other car companies and lots of other companies didn't like advertising on YouTube because it would associate their brand with a bunch of teenagers doing stupid things on camera. And so that stigma is slowly going away, and now you're seeing bigger advertisers using YouTube as a vehicle. In fact, it's become almost a fad amongst larger companies to do that. Whether it's use or whether it's successful or not, that's still to be determined. So I can understand their hesitation, but I think if they took a little closer look at not just our channel, but you look at lots of other YouTube channels out there, they would see that they're really missing the full benefit of it. They're eventually going to do it. They have to. They eventually there's going to be a new CEO who's going to have a different vision, and they're going to use it. And so I look forward to that day, because I want even more people to be looking on YouTube for wargaming videos. You see that they're not against making content to give away to their users, because you see tons of content put on their website. Even if their website's not the best organized, they do put a lot of articles and a lot of tips and tricks, a lot of showcasing stuff on their website. Then you have their White Dwarf magazine, which, contrary to popular belief, is not just advertising. There's articles in there. There's painting tutorials. Sure, it's a marketing vehicle for them as well. And sure, it costs money, and it probably should be available for free, at least in the stores. But there's still, you can see that they have a dedicated number of people that all they do is create content. If you think about that, if you actually look in the White Dwarf and open it up, you'll see there's a whole staff. I think it's about 8 or 9 people, that all they do is the White Dwarf. So you have 8 or 9 people. That's the size of our company almost. And all they do is a magazine that reaches a lot of people. I don't know what their subscriber base is, but I'm assuming it's rather large if they are still doing this full color print magazine. But think if you took that same staff and they turned their attention, at least half of them, to making videos, just the amount of success they could have with that. The battle reports that they put in their magazine, they probably spend countless hours putting that together, when they could put a video battle report together in a day. And now, mind you, they probably want to put more polish to it than we do, so maybe make that 2 or 3 days. But still, the cost would be very low, and it would just have a viral effect like nothing else. The White Dwarf can't be viral. People can't take a White Dwarf article and share it on Facebook, or send a link to all their friends, or like it, or add it to their favorites and get it to the top of YouTube. You can't do that. There's no viralness to the White Dwarf magazine. So I think they're really missing a great opportunity. They're starting to use it. I hope to see them use it even more.
Are there any that really, besides yourself and Blue Table, that really stand out to you?
I think if we look at number of subscribers as an indication, because we all have our opinions of what we like to see, but really what it comes down to is what do the masses like to see. That I think that's more proof. And so if you look at the largest gaming channels out there, you have Beasts of War. I think they do it pretty well. They have a very different style than we do, which I think is great. I like the idea of getting ideas from other people. Blue Table Painting obviously is a good one. You have Les from Awesome Paint Job. He doesn't put up very many videos, but he has a huge following. He has over 20,000 subscribers. And for the fact that he only puts up like a video or two a month, at least that's what he was doing before, it shows you just how much people want that content, because he's a fantastic painter and he puts up these awesome, no pun intended, tutorials, and people just love them. And they'll subscribe even though he's only putting out a couple a month. And that's a one-man show. So imagine what he could do if you really started pushing that even more. So those are the ones that I think stand out the most. Belle of Lost Souls has been doing a lot of battle reports. And then there's countless smaller channels, the ones that have between 500 and 2,000 subscribers, or even ones with less than 500 subscribers, who are putting up good content that feed the addiction that is this hobby, that allow people to see more armies. There's no way that we can cover all the armies, all the games. So until we have 20 people making content, which is, hopefully one day that'll be the case, but won't be for a while. We need all these smaller channels out there covering all that stuff that we can't. And so a lot of those stand out as being really good at making battle reports. So I like those the most.